The Illinois Lottery hired Kroll specifically for two reasons. The first, as was indicated, was to do an investigation. And at this point, we're in over 6 countries, and we've done different phases of preliminary investigations, which I'll get to in a moment, of the bidders and now the finalists. The second thing that Kroll was charged with was to make sure that the process was fair and open, and I'll get to some of those specifics in a moment. But let me pause for a moment because we hear transparency a lot, so let me be clear on the terms. What was not done, nor should it have been done, frankly, is the lottery did not hold weekly press conferences and announce who was on the committee and what the names of the bidders were. During the course of a competitive bidding process, certainly a public bidding process, that is an invitation for problems to announce who the decision makers are. As was indicated, those names, any comments they may have, the scoring, those will all be available on the website, I believe, shortly. But during the process, it would be really foolhardy to let that out. So we're talking about a fair and open process. One bidder had the same information as all the other bidders. And let me comment on that. As Jody indicated, there were several meetings along the lines. I'm going to give a couple examples of what we did in those meetings to make sure the process was fair for all bidders. The first meeting for the interested parties was scripted, and that was not by happenstance. We made sure the exact same words were used to every single party that entered that room. And some of the parties were in multiple meetings because this is before the consortiums were joined. They went to different interested parties meetings. They heard the exact same message. If any of them had questions, questions were not answered at that time for fear that an answer might be given differently at one versus the other. The lawyers took down the question, and the question and an answer were posted in the data room. Again, same information given to all the bidders at the exact same time. As we move forward to the next set of meetings, same thing. If any questions were asked during the meeting talking about the management agreement, the questions were not answered at that time, but rather posted to the data room. With further meetings, there were a court reporter present during one of them to make sure everything was taken down during the meeting with a finalist, and the finalists were given an opportunity to ask questions of lottery officials, which they engaged in. So at this point, the finalists have engaged in 4, and some of them 5 different meetings, all of them either scripted or recorded to make sure, and by recorded I mean transcribed, to make sure that nothing was left to chance, and nothing was left to chance. A few other comments which I think are worth noting. All of the meetings ran approximately the same amount of time. All of the bidders were given the exact same information on which to base their bids in the data room. And at this point, it becomes a mantra. Same information to all the bidders at the exact same time to make sure it was fair and open with respect to one bidder versus another. And this is really, it's never been done. Brian mentioned it was a unique meeting that was had before the public hearing. This has been a unique process. To my knowledge, and I've been doing this a while, there has not been another public bid like this where a firm like Kroll and someone with my background was brought on to make sure the process was fair. And given that I've done 10 years at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago, I can say it's never been done in Illinois. And I know that for a fact. So it's really unique. It's a watershed way to conduct public biddings, and it's really the way public biddings should be done, to make sure the process is fair for all the bidders. Information, when appropriate, is released, and as I indicated, all the necessary information, the evaluators and so on, is being released at this time, because to release it beforehand, while people may have been curious, really would not have been a smart thing to do. With respect to current vendors, one of the finalists is a current vendor. The lottery was obviously aware of that and cognizant to make sure that information within the lottery was on a need-to-know basis. And they made sure that no information went to the current vendor with respect to the bidding process, and I ensured that that was the case. Every step of the way, the lottery officials had made sure that the correct decisions were made, and Kroll and myself were there to check on them, and I have no qualms whatsoever to say that this was a fair and open process, really like a lottery ticket itself. The winner here was not predetermined. The winners and the winning bid will be selected on its merit with absolutely nothing improper whatsoever. Thank you.